Zechariah is serving his week. He's in the group or the order of the priests called Abijah, which was the 8th, according to First Chronicles, is the 8th division of priests. So he's serving inside the temple. If you remember the story, he's inside offering up incense before God, and this angel appears, and he's probably done this who knows how many times before. He's got this down, you go in, you say your prayers, you wave the incense, you walk out, and suddenly, boom, there's this angel who looks at him and says, "Hi, Zechariah," and Zechariah is not used to company in the temple of God, and doesn't really know what to say. And the guy says, "Look, you and your wife are going to have a child," and Zechariah finds his tongue, which probably was the worst thing he could have done. And he said, "Really now, because I'm old. And my wife is old." And in fact, I think there was some bitterness going on in Zechariah, because he says, "We've been wanting this for years, and now you show up that we're old." Okay, I'm adding a little bit. He says, "Really, this is going to happen?" And the angel looks at him and says, "You talk too much. Now stop talking. Let's give your wife a break for 9 months. You can't speak." And Zechariah opens his mouth and nothing comes out. And he walks back out and the people are there and he says, "Look." And they figure, wow, something's happened to Zechariah we've never seen this happen. The priest goes in talking, comes out mute. And there's a whole lot of people like, "And send my spouse in there." Just for a couple days, even. Kevin put his head down, looking sheepishly at your wife. We do offer marital counseling, which that's kind of weird. Anyway, Kevin's a counselor. So this gets significant because the Bible states that after he goes home, that he departed his own home, verse 23 and verse 24, after those days his wife Elizabeth conceived. Now, if we do the math, the year that Christ was born was probably 4 or 5 BC. The Jewish calendar and our calendar don't match up perfectly, so it's 4 or 5 BC, kind of like 2008, 2009 school year. The first day of the first month, which is the month of Nisan, was about April 8th that year. Okay? So if you do the math, then he's an 8 order of priests, he's 8 priests, you have the 2 holidays, that's 10 weeks in, that brings us into basically June, the 2nd or 3rd week of June, that Zechariah is standing before God and gets told to shut up by God. Well, by the angel. Alright? So then he goes home, and so towards the end of June, Elizabeth gets pregnant. Okay? So now this is significant because Luke 1 continues in verse 26 and verse 36 that Mary becomes pregnant 6 months after Elizabeth does. So now do the math. If Elizabeth is getting pregnant at the end of June, 6 months later means Mary is conceiving at the end of December. And so it could be that we have, relatively speaking, the right date of December 25th. We just have the wrong event. That instead of saying Merry Christmas, we should be saying Mary, M-A-R-Y, Conception Day. Because, and what's interesting is we celebrate Christmas in celebration of the incarnation of Christ. But that incarnation really happened when Mary conceived. If there's one thing the experience does, it's have children. Well, other than we do eat a lot, right? You're right. But we've taken literally the concept of be fruitful and multiply. Sarah is praying that this happens sooner rather than later. When was your due date? Monday, yeah, last Monday. She understands the great with child concept. Pregnancy is an incredibly